Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus and compare it against the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus and see which particular device is a better one for you. Now, number one, the big thing I can definitely tell you is that, as always, if you have all the money in the world, then it definitely makes a lot more sense to go ahead and buy the latest and greatest generation that you can get your hands on. So in this case, it would be something like a Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus. That's the current generation, that's kind of the best one you can get. But I would still probably say that a device like the Galaxy S23 Plus is still actually going to be a really good device for the most part. That's going to be a beautiful phone, and you can't really go wrong with that one either. But that's kind of how I see these two, but there could be some other phones I recommend buying as well. But let's go and see how both these compare. If you want to pick up either one of these phones, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there, and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both of them, the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus came out back in 2023. So this phone on the front side is giving you a 1750 mAh battery inside of it. So this phone is giving you a 6.6 inch dynamic AMOLED display. I don't know where that battery thing came from. So this is a pretty good type of display, right? It's fairly large. It's a dynamic AMOLED, 1750 millipower. Why do I keep saying millipower? 1750 nits of brightness, and it's a pretty good display, 120 hertz, and against it's a hole punch display. It's a pretty good type of display when it comes down to it. So if you are going to go through and buy a phone, I think this is a pretty good option for the most part, and you're genuinely not really going to feel like you have like a super outdated device or an ugly phone or anything like that. This is really one of those types of devices that you can basically look at, you can get your hands on, and you can genuinely feel like it is a pretty good device for the most part. Like from that side, you're really not going to be having too many issues when it comes down to this type of phone. On the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus, this phone is going to be giving you a 6.7 inch dynamic LTPO AMOLED display. So this phone is going to be giving you a slightly larger display. It's 1440p here, but also this phone is going to be giving you a little bit of a brighter panel. This phone on that screen is going to be giving you a 2600, nits of brightness panel. So that is going to be a significantly brighter type of display that you might be experiencing inside of that phone than from something like a Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus. So from that side, that is kind of one of those big things to keep in mind here, because if you are trying to go through and get the better performing panel here, then it is clearly going to be something like a Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus. On the bottom, both are giving you USB Type-C ports. The S23 Plus is like kind of curved on the side, where the S25 Plus is like fully flat. On the back side, you're getting your frosted glass back and a triple camera setup. Now, the thing to keep in mind here with both these types of cameras and the setup and everything like that is that with the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus, this panel and this phone, for the most part, it's a good looking phone on the back. The S25 Plus's cameras, though, are much bigger than the S23 Plus's. So keep that in mind. But there's not really anything insane that like one phone has over the other one on the exterior. There's a few key differences here and there, but I would say both these phones look pretty good, and I don't really have too many complaints here when it comes down to it. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. Now when it comes down to the price tag, the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus is going to be giving you a $1,000 phone basically from that price. So I do think that in and of itself is a pretty good price to kind of think about for that type of phone. The Galaxy S23 Plus is going to be giving you a little bit of a smaller price tag there. That phone is going to be costing you about $432. So that phone on the Galaxy S23 Plus is going to be significantly cheaper than something like the Galaxy S25 Plus. It's going to be less than half the cost. So from that side, that is going to be a pretty big thing there. And I do think if you are going to go through and pick up a phone, that is in and of itself a pretty big takeaway. Like if you're going to be grabbing a phone, it would be nice to grab a phone that's not going to cost like an insane amount of money. And that's where the S23 Plus really shines. In terms of the cameras, this was also something kind of interesting going on here too. When you actually go ahead and take a look at the cameras between both, the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus is going to be giving you almost the same megapixel count, basically the same megapixel count on the backside when compared to the Galaxy S25 Plus. So that is something that's very, very interesting. Like if you're going to take a look at which phone is going to be giving you the overall better type of camera, it would definitely be the Galaxy S25 Plus, but the S23 Plus really isn't that far behind either, which is kind of interesting. So that was something that really kind of stood out to me. But I will tell you for most ways, you're getting 8K at 30 frames per second on the backside of both of them. You're also getting, 4K 60 on the front. So there's still a lot of capability here between both these types of panels. And I definitely would say that if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, like these two phones do a pretty good job at a majority of things that you end up throwing at it with. So once again, I don't really have too many things to complain about here when it comes down to that side. But if you are kind of looking at these two phones, and if you are wanting the better type of camera, then it would definitely come down to the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus. That one's going to be better. It's going to be giving you a better chipset that can do better things inside of it too, but definitely the S25 Plus is going to be better. But the S23 Plus is neck and neck. It's not that far behind, if I'm being honest. Now, when it does come down to basically the software longevity here, this is also another interesting thing here. So when you kind of take a look at the software cycle of both these phones, Samsung made some really big changes in between these two devices. The Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus was giving you 4 major versions of Android. The Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus was basically going through and giving you 7 major versions of Android. So that right there is a massive, massive difference. Imagine being able to go and switch to the newest phone and be getting a phone that's going to be lasting 7 years. That is going to be insane. And actually, if you're trying to go ahead and buy a phone that you're even trying to have for like 3 or 4 years, well then the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus would still be the better option here, because that one's going to be giving you better capability when it comes down to that side as well. So that right there is another very big thing to keep in mind there. And if you are going to go through and pick up a phone, that in and of itself is another very, very big thing when it comes down to it. So that right there, I think, is a very big thing. They're both also giving you a little bit of a different size battery. The Galaxy S23 Plus is giving you a 4700 mAh battery. The Galaxy S25 Plus is giving you a 4900 mAh battery. So that right there is another kind of small difference. Definitely on the S25 Plus, I would say that phone is probably going to be giving you the overall better battery life when it comes down to it. So that right there is going to be one thing to keep in mind there when it comes down to it as well. Now, on top of that, another very large thing to keep in mind here too is that with the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus and the S23 Plus, the performance of both is pretty interesting. The S23 Plus is going to be giving you the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset inside with 8GB of RAM, where the Galaxy S25 Plus is going to be giving you the Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset inside with 12GB of RAM. So definitely when it comes down to the RAM and the performance and all that stuff, you're definitely going to be getting a phone on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus that is actually going to be pretty interesting. Like that type of phone is going to be a very good type of performing phone when it comes down to it. And I do think that is in and of itself, once again, going to be a really big thing. I do think with the Galaxy S23 Plus, that type of phone is going to be a pretty good performing phone, right? I feel like if you're going to go and buy a phone, that one is pretty solid. And it still is like maybe like an 8 out of 10, but the Galaxy S25 Plus is like a 10 out of 10. That one's a really good performing device. If you're going to pick up one, that one makes a lot of sense to go and buy. So in my opinion, it sounds pretty obvious, but the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus is a better phone here. However, if the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus was a 10 out of 10, I think the S23 Plus is like an 8 out of 10 or an 8.5 out of 10. Like it is very, very close. It's not half the phone of the S25 Plus. And the fact that it's less than half the price is pretty insane to me. So that's kind of how I see it. I personally love these phones a lot, but I would definitely say go for something like the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus if you have the money. If not, swing for the S23 Plus, and I think that'd be a better option for a lot of people. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.